Welcome to Beyond the Mark, the podcast for business builders, storytellers, and anyone who wants to stand out in a crowded market. Today I'm talking with a friend, Farmer Jeff, who's a networking legend and a connector of connectors. This episode is packed with insights on how to build real relationships, grow your reputation, enjoying the process while doing it. If you get value from this episode, take a second to like, share, leave a comment, or subscribe. And subscribe. It lets us bring you stories like this. Let's jump in. As we were just saying, you're part of a bunch of groups. And what first got you into networking? How do you start this?
I think I've networked my whole life. My first endeavor, I look back at networking when people ask me that was I brokered baseball cards in high school. So as a 15, 16-year-old high school kid, I was buying baseball cards not only in my own high school. I hate to admit I was buying it so kids could have beer money and from a rural German area. And then I morphed into buying it in local communities, a couple schools over, and just kept buying them and reselling them. And it was a good business. And I think it was basically a de facto college education.
Was there a point when you started to do it on purpose or when you realized there's something to networking?
I'd say already at 16, because the key was to contact person X at St. Mary's High School close to me, arrange to be in the parking lot with a red Buick and buy baseball cards. And of course, offer him something for getting enough people to come out the parking lot to sell me baseball cards, and then take them home and be the geek that was collecting baseball cards and selling baseball cards in the weekend instead of running around. But it was a good business. And plus, if you're old enough, you realize in the 1980s, I got to catch the inflation uptick on the baseball card market.
So you made a lot of money selling baseball cards?
It was good, yes.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good deal. And it's like I said, as much as anything else, I learned those networking skills. I did talk, baseball cards. I was talking to another guy, and I hate to make this about baseball cards, but in our day, you had to buy the packs, then you'd go through and try to get a complete set. But to get the set, you had to find out what kid in the high school had this ball card from this year, and you had to negotiate with him without giving him too much in return. So there's a lot of skill set, to be honest with you. I guess one person said the young kids now are doing that with Pokemon cards.
Yeah, maybe. But I remember also when I was probably, I don't know, younger than that. Maybe I was 10, 11, 12. We were still trading basketball cards. We were doing basketball cards,
Okay.
some football.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. You gotta know how to make a good deal.
Yeah. And so that's where my networking really started. And I morphed into my 20s, and I sold a lot of horse hay, and you had to make the connections, deliver to the customer and all the basic skills we learned. So I think I've networked my whole life. I turned 60 next week.
Wow.
So
Happy birthday.
thank you. So no, it's all good.
Okay. So what would you say people get wrong about networking?
I think the number one thing you do to be a good networker is be present. You must be present to win. And you got to be present. You got to put yourself in good situations, great people. Joe, that's why I value you as a great friend. The more you associate with great people, they're going to attract great people, and find out what the place is. You and I know both enjoy going to Commonwealth coffee shop near to here. And even yesterday, I made a huge connection by simply being present. Walked in there, if you don't mind me sharing what happened,
Yeah.
sitting there having a cup of coffee. And a gentleman walked by and seen him before, engaged him, invited him to sit down, sat down. I also do business development for a commercial lighting company. Ended up getting 2 strong lighting connections out of that meeting. And it was completely, I could have been sitting at home doing nothing or sitting there having a coffee, and you must be present to win.
So how did you start the interaction?
With this gentleman, because as you know, Joe, I'm there 2 to 3 times a day, and I'd seen him before, and I just politely said, "Hi, Dave, how you doing?" And we started talking. So would you like to sit down and visit? And I had never in the past engaged our conversation to find out more about him, and ask him about his business, what he did, ask him how I could help him. You always want to offer help if you can. He always seems like just a good guy. He's the kind of guy I'm looking to connect with. I'm always interacting with quality people. Seems to be a first class gentleman, and he is. And so we engage, and I got a new friend in this world and a new network collaborator.
There's a woman I know who wakes up every day with one mission: help people who don't know how to escape. She's the president of Sparrow Freedom Project, and she lives and breathes this work. I've heard the stories of survival, pain, unimaginable strength, They'll break your heart and stay with you for weeks. This is not just an organization, it's a lifeline. Sparrow Freedom Project fights human trafficking and supports survivors right here in our community. They need our help. If you're listening and wondering what you can do, it's simple. Make a donation today. Donate now at sparrowfreedomproject.org/donate. It matters. She's given up so much to help others. Let's give something back. So this is one thing that I had to learn really was you don't have the sale that you never made.
Correct.
You never spoke to the person that you never spoke to.
Correct.
Sounds obvious, but I kind of like give myself a little kick in the rear to get out because I think more naturally introverted. So just to get a little more courage, I guess, in the moment. Like I got to think, I don't have the deal. I don't have the sale. What runs through your mind?
You there really isn't the cost you think that is to take a step to the plate. And if you consider to strike out, the person, the gentleman yesterday would have said, no, I got to run. Like, okay, no problem, Dave. See you later or whatever. You really aren't out anything. You're only out something if you don't try. And if you don't mind, you did share that you may want to know what my best network access point ever was. And I think it works perfectly for what we're talking about right now. I once was on an airplane and asked a young lady if she walked by if she'd like to sit down and visit. And I'm married to her today. So you never know. Not everybody is going to ask. I didn't get a restraining order, thank goodness. And I'm going to Mexico with her this week. So you just never know. You don't know if you don't put your best foot forward.
You met your wife networking. That's very cool.
Well, everything we do is networking.
Sure.
It's interacting. And that's part of being a human being is we interact. I think it's thousands of years old. We've always had to network. We've always had to collaborate and interact with each other. I think that's the nature of who we are.
Okay, so I understand how you're different. How do you build relationships? How do you make meaningful initial interactions like you just did?
It's easy if you like people, start off, you just genuinely care. When you care about that person, that's the number one thing. The number one thing they care about the other person does, do you actually care? If they think you don't care, then the relationship's done. So it is built, no question, has to be you have to care. And that to me is very quintessential. And it's not about what can you do for me? It's what can I do for you? And in the networking world, I'm free to pass out referrals, help people, particularly if I know they're good people. You don't want to refer things to people that may be problematic because I don't want to send a friend of mine or someone that trusts me to connect them to someone I think is going to put them in a bad situation. So you surround yourself with people who you can refer, who you trust will treat your friends and people that trust you well, and it helps to build your reputation.
Other than maybe having referred them in the past and things went sour, like how would you be able to detect if this is a person that's referable or not?
I like to look for their interaction skills. And you miss every once in a while. You hope not to miss, but you see how they interact in public. Whether it's I just came from a coffee networking event, and there were certain people that just really stood out as just high quality people, just the way they conducted themselves. And those people are easy to refer to. I sat by a gentleman who does flooring. He may be a good connection for you. Actually, I think we need to have a coffee with this gentleman. And just an interaction, I connected with him. I thought he was a person with a lot of personal qualities. And it's kind of made it nice for me. I really didn't have anybody real strong who does flooring. So I've got a friend in that area who, if someone asked me for flooring for their house or for their business, I've got a connection point for them now. And I wouldn't have had that if I wouldn't have sat down and just started a conversation with him. It was purely as ad hoc as I was walking through, seeing a gentleman I didn't know yet in this world, and sat down, introduced myself, and I got a new friend.
Very cool. And when you're trying to build your reputation, let's say you're trying to get out there more, you are now trying to do this on purpose, meet people and be remembered.
Right.
What's the best way to, like, if I was a small business owner, what would you say would be the first thing I should do? Now that I've decided this is what I'm going to do, what's like the first tip?
Well, you got to get into networking groups. You and I, Joe, of course, met through a BNI group of people there. I respect all them. I'm a frequent guest visitor, mascot, I would say. And, find these groups. I belong to 9 different groups now. And so, those are all access points. And I think all 9 of them have filled with a lot of quality people. I was at a Troy Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning before I came here, and they're just a great group. Joe, if you have not gone, I'm going to take you as a guest.
I have not been there.
You're going to go as my guest the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So you're part of 9 groups. How often do you like show your face and
If you're going to be a member, you need to participate.
yeah.
One group we refer to that I belong, or not belong, but I participate with you, I can't be a member simply because I can't meet their full time requirement. They're gracious enough because my friendship's in there. And I do try to refer that group of people as much as I can to invite me as a periodic guest. And that's very nice of them to invite me. And that's again how you and I met. So
Hmm.
if I wasn't there, it must be present to win. I wouldn't know you and wouldn't have you as a friend, Joe.
That's right. And yeah, I had heard your name, and people said, "Oh, you got to sit down with Farmer Jeff." I said, "Great." And I think I waited maybe like a few weeks, and then you had popped through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The whole Farmer Jeff thing, if you don't mind me sharing on that, that's been one of the best marketing things by accident. Because there's no other farmer in Birmingham, Michigan. And I was at I don't know where I was even at a function, probably back in 2013, 2014. And I was just 3 Jeffs were standing there. And the one gentleman was there, not differentiating us. And he just let out. And he's looking, he says, from now on to the one gentleman, he says, "You're bald Jeff." He says, "The second one, you're Fireman Jeff." And looks at me and says, "You're Farmer Jeff." And it just took off after that. And it has actually worked out really good. It's a differentiation point.
I mean, that is one way that I certainly remembered you. It was, oh, Farmer Jeff.
Yeah, and for marketing and for networking, I got 2 advantages over most people.
Mm,
One, I'm the only farmer in Birmingham,
yeah,
and two, I'm 6'8". Not everybody's 6'8".
that's
So
right.
you do stand out. And I'm not saying it to brag, but it does stand out a little bit. And it's another differentiator.
6'8".
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were tall, but that's
I may be 6'7" now because we get older, we do lose a little bit. Our spine shrinks. So I may not be quite 6'8" anymore, but yeah, so tall.
I gotta be looking like this to see.
A little bit, yes.
Okay, so great. So join a group, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Uh, what is like some major piece of business that you got from networking? Like, what's an example of something?
A couple things. One, a friend of mine is also a great networker, and I think I've introduced you to Tracy Katz. Just an amazing lady.
Yeah.
She refers to the phrase "always take a bite of the apple," and what that means in her mind is you get a group you get access to go see. Take a bite of the apple. Go one time, see who's there. Just like you. Why are you going to go with me to try Troy Chamber? You're going to take a bite of the apple. You're going to go in. You're going to see who's there. You're going to decide if it works for you or not. That's your decision. But always take a bite of the apple. You don't know who's there if you don't go.
Mm,
And you don't know what energy that group has until you go. So one I'd say, always go. I think every group I've ever gone, even the ones I thought had almost no chance, something comes out of them. You almost always something comes out. I got the advantage though. I'm primarily business development today in my older age, retired for interactive lighting. And I'm always looking for commercial electricians or people needing commercial lighting. But I do sell some beef on the side as a hobby. That's just a lot of fun. That helps to add to the motif of Farmer Jeff. And of course, Joe, you get your beef from me, and I greatly appreciate that. Um,
great quality.
I don't think there's been a group that I haven't been with because even the gentleman yesterday had 2 of his better friends were electricians. And so I got 2 possible new electrical lighting customers. And so it's built. We at Interactive Lighting is the name of the company
Mm,
that I do business development for. We were last year at the end of the year, we were #1 in rebates for all DTE. So we are a 5-year-old company and past the rest. And so it's been a lot of fun.
wow, wow, that's pretty impressive. Just 5 years.
It's easy to sell what's good. And what makes it work is the guy I work for, Dane Haight, does a great job. Yeah, he's really good. So it makes it good. I can sell quality time and time again. You can only sell junk one time.
Mm,
So I would say networking and sales, make sure what you're selling is quality. And so, particularly if you're looking to get in the networking arena and sales, don't just grab at anything, grab at something that's got substantive value.
yeah, right,
If you're,
exactly.
if you're not selling something of value, you won't last. You can only sell gimmick and junk for so long.
That's true. Absolutely true. Yeah, and we see that.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see that.
Those guys, couple years, they can shake the hand, slap the back, buy a beer, but they're not going to last
Yeah.
if they don't have something of quality. So anyone that's listening, that's looking to get any marketing, networking, and sales, you have to have whatever you're selling has to have quality or you ain't going to last.
Yeah, that kind of actually makes me think of choose something to be known for,
Mhm.
right? Instead of trying to network with people, and because I know some, I don't know, entrepreneurs who are in multiple businesses, several, they have several ventures. Choose one.
Right.
Choose one. as to not confuse, what do you have you met people like that that have, like, multiple things going on?
Yeah, and if you go to the local watering hole at 4 o'clock and it's happy hour,
Mm,
and the gentleman sitting at the bar is you've heard him tell 3 to 4 different people the 4 different things he vets or does. It's like, dude, that's just way too much. I mean, there's no sincerity in that. It's like, I do this, it's like, no, that's just a little much in my opinion. That's, I'm not, I will say this too, if you don't mind me sharing this, Joe, I'm not against alcohol. I'm definitely not a stiffly stifferson. I personally, for networking, don't like to drink.
mm,
I do drink, but I don't like to drink for that. I feel like it always gives me an A game, and if I do stop at Market North End at 4 o'clock, and there's some great people there, and I've done well networking and connecting, I have an Arnold Palmer.
mm,
I feel by staying away from the alcohol, I've always got an A game. And I find most people, when and they know you're a salesman and you're not drinking, I think they actually respect you more. The
mm.
respect you have, I think, taking the shots of alcohol in a sales environment is not what you think it is. It's not the legitimate respect you're looking for.
Would you say that about one drink, or would you say that about multiple
I'm
drinks?
pretty sure you can take the one. Most people are somewhat forgiving, and you definitely don't want to be the guy at the bar that's trying to make connections. But of course, bar happy hour. People do network at happy hours. You've seen the guy yourself before that's a little beyond, and it's like, I personally lose a little respect for him if, in particular, if their behavior becomes non-conducive. I really prefer networking, Joe, as you know. I really prefer the coffee places.
Mm,
I really, and me as well. You find that one place that's your niche. Like I like the Commonwealth's local. It's just my basically de facto office. That's a great place because you always got your A game.
yeah, yeah, I don't know, as I've gotten older, I've started to really despise what alcohol makes me feel, and
Yeah. Well, again, I'm not, like I said, I'm going to go on
yeah,
vacation with my wife. I'll have a few beers. I'll have some fun,
yeah,
but I'm not there to network and sell stuff.
no, for sure,
Not in Mexico. I'm not.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm not there to sell
Yeah,
anything. So, and I'm not still not going to make a fool of myself. I understand, I don't just run down some 25-year-old out having some fun as long as they still maintain some respect. But I do not like alcohol for networking at all.
yeah,
Again, don't get me wrong. You're right. The one beer, I don't think it's a big deal.
right. How do you balance everything else that you do with the networking?
But technically, I hate to say this, but you're always networking.
Mm,
Every environment you're at, you're always presenting yourself. You never know who you're going to meet. My wife says, unfortunately, any place we go, I end up selling something. Even if I don't plan to go to a wedding and sell something, I end up doing
mm,
because invariably, you're at a table, you're in a conversation, you meet a new person, ask, what do you do? The Farmer Jeff thing comes up. And invariably, if nothing else, they want to buy beef.
mm,
The only problem I always have beef is I'm still not that big of a beef farmer. And that's just a lot of fun. That just adds to the mystique and the whole, you know, persona, if you will. But you never know too. You're sitting at a table and you're talking and you're just engaging. Ask the other person what they do. Sometimes you end up being able to help them. It's not that you have to be selling all the time, but I guess you kind of are. That's just a sad reality of life.
fair enough. How do you remember how to follow up? What do you use?
First off, once I have a relationship like the gentleman this morning I referred to, he'll follow up. I'll get a coffee with him in the near term. Whether I ever sell him any beef, which is ancillary, or make a connection for the commercial lighting, he's someone in my orbit that is of value in multiple ways. As a human being, you always have value. But just like Joe already, I've already said I want to introduce him to you. I think the two of you, I think you're my friend. You got logo clothing. You might be able to help him out. And so, I'm glad to introduce the two of you. And I don't expect anything. You know how I am. I always
Mhm.
tell people if you make a sale and you make a lot of money, what I want is I want a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee, I'm always happy. I don't like the referral fees personally.
Mm,
Personally, do not. I do not like them. I don't. I've had people offer them to me, and I'd say, "Buy me a cup of coffee," and I'm happy.
yeah, why is that?
It's just tacky, I think. But that doesn't mean I run down people that do. And I've had people that have been very insistent that they think they should. I feel like if that happens, the person that I've referred in, it may cause the cost of what they're getting to go up, and I don't like to do that. So I just stay out of that. I think it's increased my value in the networking world because I think it shows more sincerity about, if I had say, I want you to introduce you to Joe Toma. I think he does a great job. He'd be a good contact for you. I'm not doing it because I'm getting any money or anything. You already know who I am, Joe, and the other person will know who I am, knowing, yeah, Jeff Finney's going to take a cup of coffee, and that's it.
Yeah,
And if that,
yeah,
I don't have to. I had a friend of mine, I got him a sale for out at $2 million. And he really was insistent. He said, I should do something for you. I said, if you give me anything over a cup of coffee, you will insult me and you'll hurt our friendship.
Wow. Okay. So how can I be more memorable in networking situations?
Joe, I think already as your friend, I can tell you your strength you got is your sincerity. Number one, you come across a very, very sincere person. And I would tell you, stay sincere. I think you probably always will. I'm sure you always will. But even from the very beginning I met you, what I liked about you is your sincerity. The reason I'm comfortable introducing you to this gentleman I met this morning is your sincerity tells me you're going to give this gentleman quality service, quality product. And I know I can introduce you with confidence that you're going to make me look good. And part of making yourself, not about looking good, but kind of is. I don't look good not for a fancy purse or a fancy whatever. I'd rather look good for the quality of people that I associate with. And Joe, I'll tell you, I'm not just saying because we're doing this, I put you in that category. I think you know that already.
I do. I do. I appreciate that. So we talked about kind of what not to do, but and kind of a mistake. I would say like we kind of covered that when you said when people or like the opposite of being sincere,
Yeah.
being insincere or trying to sell something you really don't believe in.
Yeah. Can I throw another one out there? It's
Yeah,
minor pet peeve. And I always get caught with, do I tell a younger person? Because it doesn't mean I wrote the book on networking because I didn't,
sure.
but it's just an opinion of mine. I'll see people go to a networking event and they'll immediately walk around passing their business card out. I think that's by and large, I don't agree with that. I think it's a bad approach. I don't look down on them. I'll have people come up and hand me their business card and I'll be polite and say thank you. But I believe the business card transaction, the point that occurs is I meet you, Joe. We're talking at the point. I don't give you mine. I ask for yours. At the point that you say something sincere about your business or who you are that proves you've got value, that's the point. I say, Joe, can I have a business card? Can I please have a business card or your contact? So what you realize then is I'm asking for it. You're saying subconsciously, Jeff sees value in me because you conveyed value. I have said, can I please have a business card? I'd love to stay in contact with you. That's what I did with the gentleman this morning. So I'm saying to you, you have value, and you're picking it up saying, this guy didn't just say it right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really have any substance to it. And I don't ask everybody for a business card and not trying to run them down. But, that gentleman this morning, as we're talking, I'm like, hey, this guy's really a person of, good substance. Then I ask for a business card. And if he doesn't ask me for one, I'm not offended. It's not the end of the world. Everybody's got their own cadence. But then he's got the ability to ask for mine if he wants it. And if he doesn't, I don't read anything into
Mm.
it.
It actually reminded me when we first like sat down. I was kind of new to networking then, and I think I asked you these, and that's what you told me. You said about the business card. Ask somebody for their business card. It makes them feel like you're paying attention.
Right. At the moment that they have value.
Yeah,
Don't ask for it in the first 30
of
seconds.
course.
Yeah, because that's so I think it's kind of tacky. Or the guy that walks in and is throwing business cards there by the table. It's kind of like, yeah, at the moment that value is conveyed.
Yeah, take real interest in who I'm speaking to. If
Right.
I feel like, yeah, this is a person I do want to follow up with, and wait for that moment, then ask for their business card, and then follow up with them.
Yeah, like last night I was fortunate. I was in a meeting and there was a real heavy hitter I wouldn't mind to have a follow up with, but he's getting bombarded all
Mm,
the time. I'm not going to name drop him, but I didn't even ask him for a business card. Because here's the thing about that guy. He's used to everybody always asking for a business card. All of a sudden he's like, well, Farmer didn't even ask me for a business card. Why is that? Because all of a sudden now you're changing the playing field, if you will. Meaning, am I going to be around this guy? Yeah, I anticipate based on the group that I belong to, I'm going to see him 8 more times this year because it's a once a month meeting. But I didn't on the first time just come in and say, oh, by the way, can I have your card? No, no. I showed a conveyance of equal. Everybody else is running around asking this guy for his card. If nothing else, he probably in a couple more meetings would be like, why does this guy, Farmer Jeff, the hillbilly farmers, never even asked me for a card? Your value goes up at that point.
sure. What happens if you make a mistake? Like, let's say you join a group and there's, 30, 40 people in the group, 50, 100, whatever. You were new, you're learning, right? Maybe
Right.
you made some mistakes in the beginning. How do you go back and correct the situation? Like, maybe you came off too eager trying to meet
Right.
somebody.
Always take a deep breath,
Hmm.
lighten up, come in slower, stay present. I had a group that I belonged to. I don't think I did start as good as I could have. I was a little bit out of place with who they were, and they're good people. Good people. I'm not running them down. And I did network with them for a while. Came in a little strong. I came out of the commercial sector a little bit more, wanting to sell commercial lighting. They were a little more niche different. And even a couple meetings in, I came just a little stronger than I probably should have. But this was like 5, 6 years ago. I'm still honing my skills, particularly networking out of suburb.
Hmm.
Because you got to remember, I come from a rural area, and networking in a rural area with a bunch of rural farmers is completely different
Mm.
than the suburbs of Detroit, Birmingham, West Bloomfield. But anyways, with that group, to my credit, I stayed with them, built some friendships, and probably around month 5 or 6, one of the ladies came up to me, and finally I had value to her. And she said, "By the way, my brother's an electrician." I told him, "You're a great guy. Give him a call."
Wow.
Because that's what, as you know, understand, interactive lighting, we're looking for those electricians to make contacts. Our goal is to get them to come in to see what we have. If we can help, if we can get them the door, we feel we can get them to buy some product.
Yeah. My experience was the same. Kind of step back, take some time, and you don't have to wait forever,
Right.
but after some time, add value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Some guys come in these networking groups way, 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 way too fast. To my credit now, it's 60 years of age. I turn 60 next week. Maybe I've already said that. I always get a little real forgiving.
Mm.
Yeah, some of the 24-year-olds, 27-year-olds will come in, they're early on. That's fine. You just smile, enjoy, know they're going to grow. They're cutting their teeth. And I know I've made mistakes, and I'm sure I still do make mistakes. But it's only a mistake if you do it twice.
Sure.
It's only a mistake if you do it twice. If you do it once, it's a learning experience. If you do it twice, it's a mistake.
Mm. Do you ever get tired of it? Do you ever get
No,
fatigued?
no, thoroughly enjoy it. If I live to be 100, I'll probably do it till I'm 98. By then, I really, really be a goofy old man, but that's fine. No, I will always be out there and be present. I've already told my wife, she says she will retire at some point. Great. She certainly deserves it. She's a great lady, hardworking. But I said, you can retire. I will always be out there and be active. You just have to get used to that. I
Mm.
always belong to different networking groups in our area. And even now I'm looking to expand in the Northville area. There's a lot of activity over in Northville. Joe, I'd hope to get you over there too if I can get a networking group up over there.
Mm.
Talking to a gentleman who lives over there. There's a lot of business activity in Northville. A lot of strong activity, a lot of strong connections, and looking to get some connections up into that artery. I'm looking at my Rolodex. I'm strong Birmingham, Troy, West Bloomfield, Rochester, Shelby Township over in that area. Very weak as you go to Northville.
How do you make the assessment? Like, okay, you realize what? There's a lot of commercial business going on, lots
Oh
of
yeah.
growth, or
You've been to Northville?
oh yeah,
That place is
beautiful.
rocking. That place is rock and roll. Yeah. That looks like a lot of activity. And it doesn't mean it's better than other areas. I've already made up a foray up into Oxford, got a lot of great connections in Oxford. We're doing well up in Oxford. Northville is just the one area I'm looking at saying, well, how do I not know anybody in Northville? I know a little bit. I shouldn't say nobody, but not much for the activity going on over there.
So, what would be your first move?
There's a gentleman from Northville who I've developed a friendship with. His name is Matt Ciantar. Have I introduced you to Matt yet?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, good guy. So
Hmm.
yes, I have invited you. So yes, I've networked. So I've networked him with some of my friends over here.
Hmm.
And he's asked me, he appreciates who I've introduced him to and, how to return a favor. He says, now you replicate what I've given you in this area of quality people. And Matt's a quality person, which makes it easy. You probably recognize when you met him, just a first rate individual. You do the same thing for me in Northville. Do the same thing for me in Northville. I'd like to meet some of the quality people out of Northville.
Oh, that's a great way. So, somebody from that area, have them
Yeah.
introduce you, and
And once you get into some of those networking arteries, then you get invited to other networking groups and you go from there. Well, actually, Joe, I'll invite you. I'm going to a chili party here next month, and I jokingly call it the He-Man Woman Haters Chili Party. You remember Little Rascals, He-Man Woman Haters?
oh
It's a
yeah,
bunch of guys that get together locally, and they have a chili party and a couple beers. I may even have a beer that night. And Joe, how about you come as my guest? Load it with just some good business connections, and people might need some logo clothing. And you're just looking for those opportunities. I mean, you go there first for quality people and fun. You happen to make some contacts, you probably will, to be honest with you.
hmm.
There you go. It's an ancillary value.
Let me know when that is. We'll try to line it up.
And we will do that. It's about 100 people there for you, Joe. So there you go.
Wow.
And that's just what networking is, Joe. I mean, value as a friend, you're one of my friends as I'm one of yours. But again, we're present with each other today. We're talking. I'm thinking of something. How else do I can help my friend Joe? And I got 2 contacts for you today.
That's right.
To me, that's networking.
Yep. The only caveat to that would be we're expecting in March, so when that will be, not sure.
Yeah.
So
I got a feeling you'll have to go next year.
yeah,
That's my guess. I don't know. That just something tells me
yeah,
that's going to be when that little one's going to come, and that's great.
yeah. Looking forward to that, definitely. Um, so how about with technology, with phones? Has that affected the way that you network?
Yes and no. As you know, Joe, my tech skills are very, very weak. However, the ability to use text messaging is an excellent communication tool. I really prefer text over email. So, will I email? Yes. Can I email? Sure. I do prefer the text. You just got to be careful. If someone trusts you with their phone number for texting,
Hmm.
make sure you use it specific for what it's for. Don't be texting them silly political stuff, whatever your political perspective is, or anything else. Stay very specific and stay very purpose to items of value. Don't send extra. But I do prefer the texting, to be honest with you.
Mm,
And then hopefully, Joe, every time you get a text from me, you're like, oh my God, Jeff's pestering me again. It's like, no, it comes from Jeff. It's probably some value of some type.
sure.
So just don't abuse it. It's my point.
Fair enough. Okay, and if you wanted to give one piece of advice for everyone to hear, what would be the one thing that s- everybody should take away from this?
Uh, I did say the present. The other thing is, and I'll be careful how I say this, always, always return the blank phone calls. I see people who think they're networkers and they don't return phone calls. And I've talked to very good salesmen, very good salesmen. Every one of them says always return phone calls promptly. I got a friend of mine sells ag products over in Ontario. And he talks about the number one thing he does is makes him better. And he's got good products, good price, all that good advice, good information. But he always returns a phone call. Always return phone calls. Always maintain communication. If someone takes time to reach out to you because they felt you had value, even if you don't think it had value, it does. It did. It does. You need to return that call. You need to return. Always, 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 always maintain that level of communication. Nothing is more disrespectful than that person thought enough of you to reach out to you and you let them slip your mind.
Mm,
Nothing says more you don't matter to me because you never know. I've had phone calls come in, text. You're sure there's nothing ever of value, and voila, there you go.
love it. I
That
agree. Of
doesn't mean the phone conversation has to last an hour though.
course.
Then that doesn't. And I'm not being disrespectful. I mean, and it is. If you are going to be a communicator with text or phone call, make sure you're communicating in a specific, respectful time frame. I mean, if I call someone, as you know, I'm very to the point, not rude, but to the point. I'm not here to give you a 2 hour conversation. I'll get the information conveyed and go.
Mm, love it. So if people are listening and they want to find you, how can they find you?
Joe, Farmer Joe, I'll tell you, I'll get my phone number anytime. Text me at 586-914-8456. Just say, Farmer Jeff, how you doing? And I do get that because of the beef thing. I get people. I had one gentleman reach out to me. I won't name drop him. It's kind of novel. He reached out. He said, Farmer Jeff, I've had your beef before. Shows up at my garage. Didn't know who he was. I know, again, I won't say his name. Obviously, someone ended up buying had a lot of real estate, bought a lot of lights. We're talking, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my goodness, you're standing in my garage. It was a client I've been wanting all this time. And he started off, simply by maintaining that communication. His first text message was, "Me, Farmer Jeff, can I buy some beef?" I said, "Sure." Told him to come over. Guy comes over and didn't know him from Adam at that point. Then he said his last name. I'm like, "Hey, I've been trying to get a hold of you, by the way." And he buys lights today too, and his beef. So yeah, if someone reaches out to me, 586-914-8456, I'm not offended.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for doing this. Uh, Loved it.
Joe, it's an honor, but more important, you're a good friend. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All
Thanks,
right,
Joe.
Jeff. Thanks. That's it for today's episode of Beyond the Mark. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If something Jeff said hit home for you, drop a comment, share this episode. Make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button. Every bit of engagement helps us grow and helps people learn how to make their brand unforgettable. Thanks for being here. I'm your host, Joe Toma. We'll talk soon.